Hey, it's Adam, and in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to meditate all the time throughout the entire day. This is really the goal of the spiritual path, to have as much mindfulness and to have as much presence as possible in every single waking moment, because this is what is going to get you the results that we want from the spiritual path. This is going to get you that peace of mind. This is going to get you that emotional mastery that you want. This is going to get you that groundedness and these feelings of joy in every moment. So let me tell you this funny story. I was watching a YouTube video maybe a couple years back, and it was of some scientists doing a brain scan on this monk. And they attached all these cathodes to his brain so that they can get a scientific reading to see his brain activity while he was meditating. So they put the monk in the room and they attached him up to the machine. And the scientist said, "Okay, Mr. Monk, start meditating." And the monk started laughing. He said, "As if I could stop meditating." The scientist was confused. He was like, "What do you mean?" The monk said, "Well, you gotta understand, after you meditate for 20 years, your entire life, you can't stop. You're always meditating. You're always present. You're always mindful." And that's why monks are so highly respected in Eastern cultures, because the monastic lifestyle is very difficult, because you have to spend almost 8 hours every single day practicing meditation. It's very difficult. 2 years ago, I actually went to Thailand and I lived in a monastery for about 6 weeks, and I was meditating every single day. I was living like a monk, and it was very difficult. But after that 6 weeks, it was impossible for me to stop meditating. I had lots of mindfulness in every single waking moment. And that made me feel more calm. It made me a much happier person. It made me a lot more attractive, meaning that good things were being attracted to me. I could intuitively sense that people were interested in talking to me because I had an energy, an aura that I gave off because of my mindfulness. So, when we begin the spiritual path, we are constantly lost in thought story land. The reason why I initially started practicing meditation seriously 4 years ago was because I have a very restless mind. I'm very hyperactive in my mind. I'm a very thinking-based person. I'm constantly thinking things over in my mind. I'm thinking about the grand scheme of the entire universe, or I'm thinking about conversations that I'm going to have with people in the future, or I'm having mock arguments with imaginary people in my head. I'm constantly thinking of stuff, singing songs stuck in my head. And this actually caused me a lot of suffering, because what most people do is the same thing what I do. The way to deal with this hyperactive mind, what most people do is resort to addictive tendencies. So if you haven't noticed, all of the things in life that make you feel good are the things that get you out of your mind and into the present moment. So this is like sex. This is like really tasty food, like curry chicken. When I'm eating the curry, I'm not stuck in my mind thinking about other stuff, but I'm actually fully in the present moment, because the present moment is so awesome when there's some curry chicken in my mouth. When you're playing video games, when you're listening to music, the reason why these things can be so addictive, when you're doing drugs, is because they get you out of your mind and into the present moment. And that's why most of our society is addicted to all sorts of things, and why I personally have struggled with many different types of addictions throughout my life. The reason why is because we don't learn meditation in Western culture. This is not taught in schools. This is barely talked about by anyone. Recently, over the last maybe 10 years, meditation has become more popular, but for the most part, I didn't even hear about meditation until I was 16 years old. So because we don't know how to meditate, we don't know how to put ourselves in the present moment at will, we have to resort to all sorts of things like toxic behaviors that help us become one with the present moment and help us get out of our busy, noisy mind. So all of these addictions caused me a lot of suffering in my life, and eventually I realized it was time to stop, and then I got really into personal development. I had a bit of a spiritual awakening, and I started practicing meditation very seriously every single day. I've been on over 10 meditation retreats where you meditate all day, every day for 10 days straight. It's extremely difficult, but it's also very rewarding. And that is when I started learning the actual structure of the spiritual path. So when you begin the spiritual path, I'm very thirsty right now. My mouth is very dry, so I'm going to go for some water. Thank you. So when you begin the spiritual path, you start by constantly being stuck in your mind. And you have no way to quell your restless mind. You're constantly at the mercy of your whirlwind of thoughts every single day. Then after you get a little bit awareness over your thoughts, you start to realize that having all these thoughts in my mind constantly does not make me feel good. Then you start to realize the importance of meditation. And then you start practicing meditation every single day. You start to take it seriously. You read a couple books about meditation. And now you start to have more awareness over your thoughts. You realize just how noisy your mind is every single moment in every single day. And you realize that if you're constantly stuck in your mind all the time, then you can't be a happy, satisfied human being. Because the mind's job is to keep your attention always focused outwards, always judging the outside world, always trying to accomplish some type of task. And when you're in this state of doing, you're not in the state of being. And being is the source of happiness. Being is present here in every single moment. Every single present moment is being. And everything you do in your life is so that you can connect to being more fully. So the reason why you have a business, the reason why you work, the reason why you want relationships and sex and good food and good health and all that stuff, the reason why you want that is so that you can relax into the present moment and so that you can enjoy the present moment fully. But the mind has tricked us into thinking that in order to do that, we need the external circumstances to be a certain way. And that is not the case at all. It is possible for you to be connected to being in every single moment, whether it's raining, whether it's sunny, whether you stub your toe, whether you're playing video games, you can constantly be connected to being, and that is the best way to live your life. Okay, so how do we meditate in every single moment of the day? Now, it's important to recognize that meditation is a practice that you need to practice consistently. So you need to meditate every single day. And the way that you meditate every single day is by keeping yourself motivated and by recognizing that meditation is the only way that you're going to feel satisfied in your life. Personally, the way that I stay motivated to meditate, especially at the beginning of my journey, was by constantly watching videos about meditation, learning about personal development, reading books, and this would keep my mind in a place of excitement so that I was actually excited to meditate every single day. Now, after you practice meditation for a year, 2 years, then it will become natural for you to want to meditate every single day. You won't have to force yourself anymore, but you're actually going to naturally want to do it. Because you've wired your mind now in such a way where you realize that in order to feel good, you have to practice meditation. So how do we practice meditation in every single moment of the day? So meditation, what it is keeping the mind grounded in the present moment and out of the thoughts. So how do you know whether you're being mindful or not? It's very easy. If you're thinking about something and you're lost in the thought, you're not being mindful. But if you're conscious of exactly what you're doing in the present moment, without having to think about it, then you are being mindful. So let's say you're washing the dishes. This is a perfect time for you to practice meditation. When you're showering, when you're brushing your teeth, when you're doing the dishes, when you're walking your dog, when you're driving, these are perfect times for you to practice meditation. And the way you do this is to not distract yourself. So don't put on a podcast, don't put on music, just put on nothing. And just observe yourself constantly being lost in thoughts. So as you're driving, you'll notice that every couple seconds or so, you'll have a thought, and sometimes it turns into an entire thought train, and then you're stuck in your mind for a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. You're going on this thought train about what you have to do later, about what Donald Trump said on the news. This thought train is keeping your attention stuck in the mind. So your job is to notice that and to just let it go. And remember, like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be present because that's the only way I can be happy in my life. So you allow the thought to be there, but you step away from it. You detach yourself from it. You just observe it. And by doing this, the thought will naturally go away. And that's the entire practice, basically. Just observe yourself throughout the day and notice when you're thinking. And whenever you're thinking, what you want to do is you want to bring yourself into your body. So normally we're stuck in our mind all the time. When you notice yourself stuck in your mind, what you should do instead is to take a deep breath, focus on the sensation of breathing, release the tension that you have in your body. Because if you're stuck in your mind, that also means that you're going to have some unconscious tension in your body. So release that as you take your deep breath. And just keep your attention focused on the breath as you continue doing whatever you were doing. Be present and observe the present moment. And this practice is very simple, but the crux is that you're going to forget. That's the point. So you're going to hear me saying this. You're going to start meditating throughout the day, but you're going to forget. You're going to keep forgetting. You're going to be doing something. You're going to be having a conversation with someone, and you're going to forget about the present moment. You're going to be listening to music, and you're going to forget. You're going to be lost in some type of worrying thought, and then you're going to forget. That's okay. Be gentle with yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Just remember to be present in the moment, and notice that when you're present in the moment, the present moment is empty. There's nothing here. There's nothing to do. So a lot of people, when they hear me talking about detaching from thoughts, this is a scary idea because they think that they're just going to become some type of mindless robot, and then people believe that without the mind, it's impossible to function. But that is actually a trick of the mind. That's the way the ego tricks you, by convincing you that you need it to live, that you need it to survive in the world. But that's not true at all. There are many enlightened masters who have stabilized the state of no mind. A lot of enlightened monks where they have like one thought every couple days. It's insane. Most people have 50,000 thoughts per day. Some monks have 1 or 2 thoughts every day, which is insane and is absolutely inspiring. These people are not mindless robots, but actually they're the opposite. They're the embodiment of pure love. And they are not just functional, but they're actually super functional. They're very, very functional human beings. In fact, the degree to which you're constantly stuck in your mind is directly proportional to the degree of how dysfunctional your life is. And the more you can detach from your mind, the more functional your life will become. And I noticed this in my direct experience in my life, because when you step away from the mind and you ground your attention in the body, in the heart, in the breath, you start to feel better. You start to feel more relaxed. You start to feel more peaceful and more joyful. And from a state of joy, then your life will actually start to fall into place. You'll allow life to happen. And when you allow life to happen, God starts to do His work through you. The universe works through you. So by meditating all the time, by paying attention to when you're stuck in the mind and then detaching from the mind, you are moving towards becoming an instrument of God. Because God wants, more than anything, to fill you with love and joy and wisdom. That's what the universe wants to do. The universe loves you and wants you to feel love and joy and bliss. That's why your true nature in the present moment, without any thoughts, what you are is pure peace, pure bliss. But you, the ego, you have a tendency to block yourself off from this flow of love, which is your true nature. You forget that what you are is love, and then you get stuck in the mind, and then you're constantly in a state of doing. You're trying to do things, trying to accomplish tasks. you become a slave to the ego. You become a slave to the mind. And this is the root of all of your suffering. So that's why practicing meditation all the time throughout the day, because 20 minutes a day is a good start, but it's nowhere near enough when it comes to getting the results that you actually want. 20 minutes a day, a lot of people can't do that. So if you can do 20 minutes a day, I applaud you. That's awesome. Now, the next step for you is to start, first of all, expanding your meditation window. So move to 30 minutes a day. Try doing an hour a day. And then remember to meditate throughout the day. At first, this is going to seem impossible. It's going to seem annoying. It's going to seem exhausting. But that's not really the case. The real thing that's exhausting is staying lost in the mind all the time. Because detaching from the mind is actually easy. It's as easy as letting go. Imagine you're holding something in your hand, like a pen. You're holding it in your hand. It actually takes effort to hold it. It takes effort to hold on to your thoughts. It takes effort to attach to your mind. And it's actually exhausting. It's a lot more relaxing to just let it go. Letting go doesn't take any effort at all. All it takes is remembering to do it. And that's, I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. This channel is all about raising your consciousness. It's about meditation. I share with you many different types of spiritual practices, emotional mastery practices, all of which have to do with letting go, increasing your ability to be aware of the present moment. So the purpose of this channel is to share these techniques with you and also to share the theory with you, because the theory is extremely important. I've spent the last 4 years reading many books, putting this all together in my mind. And I have a talent for understanding things, putting all the pieces together, and then communicating it in a very simple, easy to understand way. And that is very useful for you, because what you want is to become an actualized human being. You want to become a more conscious human being. So if you're interested in doing that, it's very worthwhile. Stay tuned, subscribe, share this video with your friends, check out the next video that's recommended here, and I'll see you in the next one.